we will call the Grant County Board of Commissioners to order Monday, June the 15th. And we are still working under the orders of the governor in that we're still in an emergency health situation, and he has allowed that public meetings may be held via the internet. We have one of our commissioners who is joining us that way, and during this state of emergency, his vote is legal on the internet. Noting all commissioners are present, we will call the meeting to order and ask you to stand. I'll lead us in a word of prayer and ask that Ron Mallory lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Oh God, our Heavenly Father, as we take these moments, we not only have the hope of spring and the hope of new opportunities in the summer, we also have the hope of your love, your compassion, and your mercy. And we pray, Father, this day that you will grant us wisdom as we do the business of the people, that you will continue to help our not only our community, our state, our nation, and world, but help us to get over this coronavirus pandemic and to be moving forward in all the things that we have to do as we live and as we love and as we labor in our lifetime. Thank you for your help this day. I pray it in Jesus' name.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. We have affirmed that Mike, you can hear us and you can speak to us. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Very good. Thank you. We have claims and payroll items. On June 8th, there was the pre-approval for general fund and other batch and invoice edit reports. The general batch was $209,044 and 93 cents, and the other batch $5,621.06, and a single pre-approval star card in the amount of $138. Those are our pre-approvals, and we need to ratify those pre-approvals.
I move to ratify the pre-approvals.
I'll second.
Mr. Mallory made the motion. Mr. Burton supported it. I don't think we have any discussion on that. So all those in favor, the June 8 and the single approval would say aye.
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 Aye. It is carried 3-0. We also have the June 15th claims and amounts, invoice edit reports. General batch would include $195,148.25. Other batch is $64,393.78, and highway is $36,178.73, and a special batch entitled election, and that is for the primary in the amount of $29,138.10 for a grand total of $324,858.86. We need to ratify that. We need to approve that.
I make a motion to approve.
I would second that.
Mr. Burton has made the motion to approve the June 15th batches, which include general, other, highway, and election. Mr. Mallory has seconded it. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor would say aye.
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 Aye. It is carried 3-0. Last but not least, on our claims and amounts, we have payroll number 12. This was issued on the 12th, this last Friday, permission was given on the 9th in the amount of $518,408.13. And since we already paid that out, everybody's check balanced real nice with that, we probably ought to ratify that.
I would move to ratify that.
Second.
We have a motion to ratify the pre-approval on payroll number 12, and we have support. All those in favor would say aye.
Aye.
Aye. It is carried 3-0. We have cared for our current claims and payroll. All right. Receipt of monthly weights and measures report is next on the agenda. And Mr. Fleming's report in front of us from April 16 through May 15. Any questions or comments, gentlemen? Hearing none, we should receive that report. May I do that with your common consent? Right.
Yes, I consent.
All right. Receipt of monthly reports, we've got that. Communication and board updates, that's any additionals with elected officials, boards, or special committees. Right? Seeing none at this point. Mr. Jackson. Oh, Mr. Jackson is here. We will take a report from our EMA director.
Morning, gentlemen.
Sir.
Morning, Mike.
Good morning. Good morning.
Just want to give an update from the EMA office. We did have one of our field support officers pass away on Friday. His funeral will be this Wednesday. A couple other things. We are on day 96 of the operational period of the EMC. Still moving forward with that. However, we are transitioning into more of a recovery mode, planning for if you have a surge. We're still building some personal protective equipment. We are expecting a shipment this week from the state out of the national reserves. Hopefully that will help us get through.
I'm smiling. I'm just going to ask, is that the shipment we expected a couple weeks ago?
Yes, that is the one. Had a little miscommunication with that, but it is coming. It's coming. So we'll see. I'll report in a couple weeks. The other thing is we did submit a grant that you gentlemen did approve the last time we was here. We did submit that on Friday. That was for a $4,000 Durnil and some auxiliary equipment with that. We're currently working also on the PA, the Public Assistance Grant, to reimburse, and the CARES Act fund, which you all are very involved with right now. That's pretty much where we are in EMA.
I think I was going to talk a little bit more about back on track stage 5 later on, but did you mention as of today our positive cases in the county 324?
Correct, 324 and 24 deaths where we stand at. We track every 14-day period. So in the last 14 days, we've been averaging about 4 new cases a day. So we've been pretty steady over the last month, really. A few spikes here and there, but for the most part, the average has been about 4 to 5 cases.
And we continue to see testing from Optum down at the Y for how much longer? Day
To day at this point, there are some issues at the Y with air conditioning as far as making those people comfortable in there. So we have come up with an alternative site, we believe the Faulkner Community Center, where they will be moving. We're working that is not finalized yet. But that facility, I think it serves a couple purposes. It stays local where we really need it in that community. And it will provide also a good environment for those folks to operate.
So we don't have a transition date on that yet.
We do not. And additional to that, we are also planning mobile test sites. And remaining with some interns in conjunction with the health department. They're planning some mobile test sites. June 24th, City Fire Station number 2 will be the first one open to the public. It's free of charge. That's testing COVID virus. However, at that location, they will also, if people would like, they will give them basically a set of doctor's orders that they can go get an antibody test, see if they've ever had it recovered. But a lot still going on, and that probably will continue to plan this.
Our challenge is, even though we're moving on this back on track Indiana program that the governor's worked on, the virus is still going to be out there. And we need to be aware of it, but we are continuing to move the economy and move our businesses back to where they need to be. But the more we test, the more we can isolate, find out who's sick, and take care of them before we get spread. So that testing program over the summer, I think, is going to be very beneficial.
It really comes down to how well we manage the virus that's out there. Testing certainly gives us, but it's really our only roadmap. It's the only way we know where it is and how prevalent.
Questions?
No. At the risk of being repetitious, how are you progressing on the move?
It is coming. We have a meeting planned this afternoon, with some radio stuff. So I'll find out more about how the building is. I think we were waiting on some part of it really for the EMA side so that we can get a seat functional. But really, I'll find out more today on that. Plan was hopefully by the end of the month.
Michael's not with us today, but I think you mentioned at your meeting, there's been the transition. The hospital's now folded their dispatch into central dispatch, so we are totally combined. I mean, unified.
We are a true
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you, Bob.
Thank you.
Right. Any other board special committees need to report at this point? Marcus isn't in the room, but Kevin, anything from IT? All right, thank you. And David White is in the room. Highway Department's next.
Want to bring up a few things the highway's been working on. We did start our chip seal program approximately 2 weeks ago. We do have Liberty and Green Township done. Started in Franklin today and hopefully done with Franklin. Hopefully maybe toward the end of next week. The one bid that we had from Hoosier Pride Excavating on the concrete overlays, Bridge 82 and Bridge 606, for the amount was $374,521. I'd like to recommend them for those two projects. They're only bid, but I'd like to recommend them anyway. Cost estimate from United on doing the projects, what they estimated was $386,000. About $12,000 less.
That's good. We already had initially sent something in about this to the state. Do we need to ratify that action?
So all you have to do is, we've already got the money for it. We bring on our half. When we get done, invoices in, and then they just going to make sure that it matches all their numbers.
So by action, we've already taken, we're in play now.
Right, as long as you accept it.
So we do need to accept the bid. And that was $374,521. Bridge 82 and 106. 606. Thank you.
One bridge is on Northway Road and the other one, that's 6th Street.
need to move forward with that.
I would do so.
We have a motion from Mr. Mowry to approve the $374,521 bid from Hoosier Pride for bid bridge 82 and 606. Is there support for that, Mr. Burton?
Yes, I second that.
Right, we do have support. Any further discussion or questions for Mr. White? Hearing none, all those in favor would say aye.
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 Aye. It is carried 3-0.
The next thing I'd like to bring up is I requested from 4 different vendors salt quotes for 2021. I did ask that it be into me by Friday at 4 o'clock. I did work on Friday, so, but I did receive 2, so I'd like to recommend we go with a little bit on this, and I'll go ahead and say both of them. If for some reason I get something today and it's lower, I will let you know. Postal Service or UPS or whatever. Sometimes they do deliver it that way. Most of them just need quotes. The 2 quotes I received was Morton Salt for $81.74 per ton. The other company was Compost Mineral, and their price was $94.20. Last year we paid $91.45. But it did go down quite a bit if we go with Morton Salt, almost $10 a ton.
Is that who we used last year?
No, we used a company called Detroit Salt last year.
That's your recommendation, we go with more.
Yeah, unless for some reason I get one today, like I said, sometimes they overnight them, but most of the time they get them there.
Trying to just think of a nice little caveat that we can say that in the event that we do receive a lower bid today, we would authorize Mr. White to accept that lower bid, because that's what we're after, is a lower bid. But with the items presented, Morton Salt would be the company that we would go with. Is that,
Yes.
is that okay just to consent to that, Mike?
Yes, I consent. Yes.
We'll consent to that, and then you can report back and make sure that we got the lowest bid. Okay? Right. We're just consenting.
Okay.
We're consenting adults
Okay.
today.
Okay. And that's all I have today.
I had a couple things, Dave. Carol and I were out checking on the EMS building. Looks 100% better. For your information, Mike, they've corrected that soffit and I also noticed, Dave, that you've got a new truck back there, a different truck, green one. Is that yours? Is that the one you just purchased? Yeah. And then lastly, I just wanted to commend you for, you were the one that does the mowing on that ground, right?
Yeah.
It looks great. It looks 100% better, the building. And of course, the grounds look great too. I just want to commend you on that.
For the text you sent me about that one, we're looking at water problem.
Okay.
I think the problem we had before was that ditch in front of Raiders ditch just says off the right of way. Past, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I've got a couple of things that, besides that one, there are other properties. It looks like either those involved in the land ownership have filled in maybe part of county ditch to get some extra land in our right of way, and there may be a need for us to have the county dip it out and get water flowing. So I'll wait on your direction on that.
And we did get done with the first house project, the Durnil area plan, that was pretty good. I don't know if we have the equipment to take a two-story house down, the single story, what we did, it worked out fine. Build it back in, bigger,
I thought it was interesting, the only complaint Larry had was, Dave, was that you guys had the thing down before the dumpster got there,
yeah.
which is good. And then lastly, I was gonna, did you get a chance to check on the bridge out on 900?
No, I've got that on my list.
Yeah.
I know where you're talking about.
Okay. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir. All right. Old business, Pam Harris, Hope Center financial request.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Morning.
Good morning, Commissioner Burton.
Good morning.
I originally came to you with this request at your April meeting. And I just, you responded favorably, but you didn't decide to go ahead and make a decision at that time. So I'm coming back with you while this is all still fresh on our minds as we just came through the primary election. Because of probably COVID, quite a bit of it, we had an interesting time trying to secure poll workers. And there were some of our locations that were shy. We didn't have a full staff of poll workers. So, and right now we with precinct voting, we have 160 poll workers. And then also there's another 40 possibly other people that we need for other responsibilities during the election time. So I thought this would be a good time to come back to you with the vote center idea. What our request for the commissioners is help with the e-poll books. Right now, currently, as you know, when you go into the polling location, the clerks look through the paper books to find your name. The e-poll books, just to refresh your memory, you use your ID, the barcode on your ID, and your driver's license. You'd be scanned, and immediately your information would come up. And then also immediately you would go from the 32 polling locations to 11 polling locations, 12 including the courthouse. These electronic poll books would all be connected to each other on a secure line. So when you go into one location to vote, scanning your ID, immediately all the other locations are notified. So you can't go across town and vote again. These electronic poll books come to us with a cost of $61,600, and that includes the 24 poll books at $1,500 each, at the 36. The statewide voter registration system, that total would be the $600, the software $15,000, and the installation and training $10,000, bringing us to the $61,600. And so our request today, and again, this is going through the election advisory committee that was formed by the two party chairs. So that's our request today, bringing it back to you for the commissioners to help us with that $61,600.
What amount are you talking, Pam? I'm sorry.
I'm talking about the $61,600.
So are you asking us to pay what portion of that?
That I'm asking if you could pay the full amount of that, and if not, then if there was, that's what we're asking, is that full amount.
Couple things as I remember, and my memory only makes me dangerous. It doesn't make me accurate.
Okay.
As I recall, sitting on that committee with you, Pam, we would not be required to make this payment until 2021.
That's correct.
So we can get the system knowing that we have to pay for it in 2021. So we do have some time to work that out budget-wise. Now, here I go being dangerous again. And if I recall correctly, in a presentation either to us earlier or the council, we were going to see approximately an overall savings of $20,000.
So it's like the amount that you just approved to pay, that was for 160 poll workers for their meals and so we would take that down to 55 to maybe 60, 65 poll workers, because there might be some locations that might be large enough that might need a couple extra judges or something to help. I guess it would be taking that number down considerably, and also the couriers.
Right, so we have this money already budgeted for the fall campaign, the fall election process. So some of that, we're gonna see savings. We won't use up all that money. So some of that could be folded into this cost. That would reduce it on our line item budget wherever we take it. So that's another positive, and it gets us even better count results. And I was pretty impressed with your count result time this time as well.
That's an amazing group of people we're working with.
I heard that on a list, of course, reading. I heard compliments. And I would just share that because I agree with Mark. But much smoother than sometimes past.
Just a thought, if I could, Mark, on that. My thought would be on from a 2021 budget perspective, it'd be a case of Pam's budget in the election area, the general fund, would actually be reduced then by the cost, most likely. That part where you're paying for the equipment, whatever that becomes, the account, that's where that would go up. I would just say, let 2020 ride on its own at this point. There could be some unused budget there, which is great, but then you budgeted 2021's budget where we need to have that perfectly clear.
And I mean, councils, approve the concept of the advertising, the training that has to go on for the public. So would we take this out of our budget, or we just put that into a new line item for Pam's budget for 2021?
Well, my thought would be just using the existing equipment account line budget for it. If there is, assuming there is one in the general fund budget, I'd have to look at those accounts to see. But my thought is just go ahead and incorporate it into an account that's already existing for equipment. If there is one, and actually it could go in. I mean, we're talking budget for 2020, and it could go into the commissioner side of the budget, or it could go into the clerk's election pieces equipment too. It really doesn't matter which one it goes in because it's all general fund dollars. So it really doesn't matter which department it goes in. Yours is going to be reduced from a cost standpoint for personnel, for poll workers. So your overall budget would come down unless you put the equipment piece in yours. And it'd either go there or go to commissioners. It really doesn't matter which one it goes in. It's still general fund money.
So really today, we just need authorization from the commissioners to join in a contract with, who is our company? With Microvote for $61,600 contract.
Yeah, you're just committing to making sure you can pay for it someplace, wherever you put it in the budget.
And do we have that contract now? Or? Okay. So what I would say is that in consultation with the auditor, we would be prepared to take that next step of agreeing to a contract. We just have to bring it back, look at the details, go through Kyle, and then we can adopt that next go around.
Sounds wonderful. Thank you. And I will get that to Justin. Give it to you. And thank you very much.
Thank you. That's momentum without spending money yet.
Yeah. You're obligating to it whenever you do it.
That's right.
In the future. I think the council, of course, they adopt the budgets, and they're aware of that request. So I'm assuming they would still follow through on that.
I believe that they are heartily in agreement with that as well. Under new business, we have a request from Vince Heideke reference the proposed elevator repair in And since he is out sick day today, Justin, do you have that information to share?
Sure. So what he told me was this is for rust repair, for the service elevator over to $6,787. If approved, we have to put down a down payment. That we said for schedule.
So they want half up front in order to schedule, get the work done.
And he also mentioned that it's only $1,000 work order. So it's down a couple of thousand.
So we're saving money and he wants us to do it quick. That's the gist of it. All right. And again, I asked this question earlier, but will this come out of general maintenance or do we have a jail maintenance fund?
It'll come out of
General maintenance. Okay. So we have a service elevator that needs work, gentlemen. Could I get a motion to spend some money on the jail elevator? Mr.
I'll
Mowry has
second.
made a motion. You second that, Mike?
Yes, I
Thank
second.
you. Thank you, sir. So we have a motion from Mr. Mowry to approve the ThyssenKrupp work agreement for the service elevator in the jail. Our down payment will be $3,877.50. Total contract price $67.87 even. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor would say aye.
Aye.
I heard Mr. Burton as well. Carried that unanimously. Thank you. Next on the new business item, we have Grant County Economic Development Commission appointments. I believe at the last council meeting, the county council did develop or set into motion the County Economic Development Commission. And we have a few things that we have to care for. Mr. Auditor, as I recall, we did not receive any appointments from the city of Marion.
Yeah, I have not received any kind of nomination from the city of Marion. And I did send that correspondence to the president of their city council, Deb King. Have not received anything back at all.
And our concern was that, are we supposed to wait on them or do we fill that vacancy since we don't have a nomination?
Correspondence I think we received from Kyle Persinger, I think in the absence of their nominating someone, also the commissioners to be able to fill that slot. That's my understanding. I don't want to take the role of attorney, but based on what Kyle's correspondence showed, that's what it appears.
All right, I just wanted someone to affirm that besides what I was thinking.
And I think Kyle somewhat confirmed that a while ago, right?
Yes. We did have a quick little talk with him prior to the meeting, make sure that we were headed in the right direction. So at this point, the county commissioners make a selection, and that is for a 3-year term. There is a nomination by county council and approved by the commissioners with a 2-year term. Nomination by Marion City Council appointed by commissioners for a 1-year term. Then at the end of those terms and the new term starts, then those are initially a 4-year selected term after that. We understand we have veto rights as the commissioners, and so after multiple discussions, we do have a selection for the county commissioners as well as the Marion Council that we would nominate in vacuum of not having one from Marion City Council. Commissioners are recommending that Eric Waltz be appointed to a 3-year term, and that Tim Street be filling the slot of the Marion City Council appointment for a 1-year term. Those are our 2 recommendations, and want to act on those separately, Ron and Mike, or do we want to do this kind of together?
In light of the discussions and the conversation with Kyle, I would just assume make a motion that we approve Eric
I'll
Walsh
second.
and Tim Street as the city council appointment.
And I second that.
All right. So Mr. Mowry has moved to make Eric Waltz the county commissioner selection for a 3-year term, and Tim Street nominated for the council slot, Marion City Council slot, for a 1-year term, and there is support for that. We have any discussion on those nominations? Hearing none, all those in favor would say aye.
Aye.
Aye. That is carried 3-0. We have had some discussion about the nomination from the county council. I did talk with Mr. Middlesworth this morning, and so I'm not sure if the council had minutes that automatically said what their recommendation was. Trying to be kind here. I'm just going to basically say, with the recommendation that came to the council, initially we've discussed vetoing that and sending it back to the council for action this week. So how do you want to, should we discuss that individual or that position any further, or just veto their appointment and ask them to reevaluate?
It would be my opinion and motion that we would send it back to the council for another name. My understanding that there are some interest from other councilmen. I think we should put it on that in the case. But as of right now, it would be to the first nomination.
I don't know if you heard that, Mike, but Ron's making a motion to veto the recommendation of the council and send it back for their discussion on Wednesday.
Okay, I'll second that.
Right, we do have a motion with support, and I think we pretty much discussed that. All those in favor would say aye.
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 Aye. So we will send that veto back to the council and ask them to reevaluate at their meeting this week.
Mark, I just had one comment to that. Just something that Kyle sent in his email to us as well. I know the county council's last meeting talked about whether members serve in that role. According to Kyle's information, it says it should not be a person who holds a dual lucrative office. So someone that's in office could not, according to this, it says should not, it doesn't say shall not. So I'm not sure if there's a loophole there or not. So just wanted to point that out.
He talked to us prior to this meeting, and he's doing more research with Bill on what that lucrative terminology means and whether or not they can.
Okay, very good. I know we talked about the Bill last meeting. He wasn't really sure either.
So we're going to let them wrestle with that one more time. And we send us something back, we'll get this commission going. All right. We next on the line item have Dawn's cleaning solution proposal for cleaning for Salin Bank building. Can you walk us through that since you worked for Dawn?
Commissioners, you have before you the entire proposal for the cleaning of central dispatch over the Salin Bank. Kyle is working right now to put a new agreement draft a new agreement. This in there. The only thing that we're proposing to you today is the one request for
post-construction. It's a bid service for $60. Everything else will be brought before you.
So this deep cleaning quote is really, now that the center is in place, we have drywall dust, we have all sorts of things that really just need one deep cleaning to get it to an operational standard. That's correct. Even though we're working in there already. Right? So they're recommending a deep clean of $960, and that's specifically for the dispatch center. That's correct. And again, I'm assuming that we have not that extra $960 in our janitorial budget. How do we do? What do you think, gentlemen?
I can understand with all the construction, it probably needs a deep cleaning, and I think that's reasonable. So I'd move to approve that.
I'll second.
We do have a motion to approve the deep cleaning bid of $960 with Dawn's Cleaning Solution. Mr. Burton gave support. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor would say aye.
Aye.
Aye. It is carried. Thank you. Tenderly, patiently waiting in the wings, Terry Burnworth. I know that that's not Todd Durnil over there. It's here. How you doing? How's Terry this morning?
All right, Mark. Just two very short things. We need to recognize the submissions that were given for the phase 2 RFP, which is the coverage issue. If you remember the additional towers, that kind of thing. And we can't open them and read them aloud. Obviously, this is an RFP process that the Indiana Code or 5.29 allows us to do. I know there's a representative from Motorola here today. Yep. Okay. Is there anybody? There's nobody from J&K here. Those are the two submissions that you have, and basically you just put in the meeting minutes that it was submitted by Motorola Solutions and J&K Communications.
And do we have a scoring team or what?
Yes, you do. You have a 5-member scoring team that represents, it's what you utilized before for the consoles themselves. Basically represents all your public safety officials around the county, like fire, police, EMA, wherever we went, right? So it represents basically the emergency services, and that's what it has to, right?
When do we anticipate a
Recommendation? Sorry to cut you off, Mark.
That's fine.
We will be doing the scoring between now and all the way through July, because there will be interviews. This is a big event to do. And we would anticipate coming back to the commissioners on August 3rd for a recommendation. If it takes longer for the interviews or best and final offer, we will be at the following meeting, the 17th. We won't go beyond the 17th.
We will put down August 3rd as our report date on this phase 2.
That is correct. No matter what, we'll report.
Very good.
It's the best and final that takes a little bit of work for each vendor to do. The last item there, I know you have a process you go through on the claims for the contractor that did all your remodeling. Bowman, their painter, actually sent hard copies to our office, so there was a hiccup in that. Everybody does soft copies, but they did it the old way. And what are those?
This says 15,192.36.
Yeah, is that what it adds up to?
But there are two on here.
Yes, yeah, it's the application 1 and the application number 2, and you're still withholding retainage, okay? The painting's done, but they'll come back and do the touch-up. They're a local painter. Bowman, obviously, is a local contractor, he's a local painter, and he's just
Yes, we have actual paperwork on that, Justin, or just the,
This is all I have.
okay.
Yeah, that's,
Yeah, I have not seen it until today in this packet, so.
and it has the backing on it too, Justin has it, which has the actual applications that have been notarized. Right here. It's the normal, but this one we're doing kind of.
Yeah, just for my file, I want to make sure I get a copy of the full file. Okay.
We can either authorize this today, gentlemen, or as soon as we have the voucher, the warrant, we can pre-approve it, whichever you prefer. You want to just go ahead and approve it now, or wait until we have the paperwork I can sign off on?
You don't anticipate any,
Hiccups?
Yeah.
No, I don't, Ron. They've been very, very good. I will have to tell you, when Todd called them and said, we need some touch up here, they came to me. So, or I would recommend that company for painting.
Why don't I just interject, I guess, from a process standpoint, every Monday we do a process check. So my thought would be is if we get this down here, we're gonna, this week get a process and pay it next Monday, as long as you pre-approve it for next Monday's meeting. That's my thought, it keeps, we'll have other claims, I'm sure, that come in for pre-approval for next Monday's check date. So my thought is this will just be one of them.
We get that paperwork, I'll do the pre-approval and we'll get it out Monday.
That as soon as Jess gets that list together, she'll send you an email, hey, we got this set of claims for pre-approval.
They'll greatly appreciate that.
Right. Any other updates?
No, that's much it.
Phase 2, any other budget meetings that we've got scheduled here in the next little bit? Or
No, my recommendation is that the commissioners and council have a joint meeting for the final funding of phase 2. Because you really do, we're doing the RFP, and there will be a recommendation in August. And so, and then between August and whenever we get an agreement signed, we need to go ahead and figure out your funding mechanism for phase 2. So that's my recommendation to the commissioner, to have a joint meeting this July.
how soon should that be?
Within the next 2 to 3 weeks.
Right. We'll start talking with Shane, see if we can schedule that. We've got a regular session on Wednesday night with the council.
Yeah.
So if he can pull his people this week, we can try to join special session.
And decisions wouldn't be made then. They would just be able to talk through the process of how you want to fund this pretty big thing.
All righty.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Couple of other items that we need to just mention before we go to public comment. I hand it to Mr. Mallory. I'm sorry I don't have this for you, Mike, but we'll just kind of talk through it. July the 4th begins stage 5 of Back on Track with the governor's directives. And so the main things, we are actually open for business here today at the county building. Most of our folks have been paying attention to the advertisements that as they come in, they need to be checked for a fever, any tracing information we need, wearing masks when in common area up close and personal. But the stage 5, when we get into July, everything is back to an open type of situation. The challenge for state, county, local government, it says resume regular public operations, use tools to screen employees daily, and then provisions for employees to maintain social distancing. Currently, we have masks for our employees, as well as the sneeze guards that we've tried to get up in almost every workspace where we have direction with the or interaction with the public. One thing that the governor has said each and every time is that local operations set their policies. And so we need to be thinking, as we're moving into that new openness of stage 5, how long are we going to require masking? How long will we continue to keep the sneeze guards up? Or if we ever take them down? We just need to be discussing that. And what, if any, new regulations or policies will we have for the public? I'm assuming that there will be a day, and if it's not later, probably July 4, we need to decide whether we're going to continue to take temperatures of those personnel coming in or not. So we just need to publicly have that discussion, gentlemen, and kind of get our thoughts in order. Any thoughts, Ron or Mike?
I think guidelines that were. I think we have been cautious. I think we maybe even a step beyond, but I would just recommend
Continue to follow the
guideline.
governor's guideline. I'm thinking at some point in July that we relax the temperature scan from incoming citizens. They're not doing that anymore in most of the businesses. They're not doing it at Walmart. They're not doing it at Lowe's. They're not doing it in other locations. And the big thing is to make sure that our employees are fine. And again, there comes a point where I'm sure we're going to stop that temperature thing as well, and we'll ask the health department for some direction on that. So, any thoughts on that, Mike?
No, I don't have anything additional.
All right. Just so we have it on record that we are making those discussions, we're trying to get those policies and procedures together so that we're getting back to normal, but we want to get more back to normal than we are now. So just about everybody in the room has their mask on except me, and Jim, and Justin. All right. We will continue to limit the number of attendees to 25 and encourage folks to join us on WebEx. I think that's one of the policies that in the future we will probably still run WebEx so that we have a greater accessibility to the community. They can jump online anytime. But again, that's part of our discussion. Gentlemen, do you have other new business that we need to review?
I wanted to discuss, I'm still getting notifications on the solid waste district meetings. And with the schedule I have, particularly as it pertains to the treatment, it's my understanding that you said you would be willing to represent with Mark on the solid waste district board. Is that correct?
Sure. Yes.
What I'm going to do, I'm going to contact Kyle then or ask Mark to at the next meeting. I'm getting the communications, and I think they're expecting me to be there, and I won't be. So I just want to make that. I want to make sure you and I were on the same page as Mark relates that to the board. Yep.
Okay.
I'll be glad to do that.
How you doing, Mike?
I'm doing well. I'm ready to get back to work.
I bet you are.
Yeah.
Well, as of July the 4th, the emergency declaration from the governor should phase out. That means that from that point forward, WebEx meetings will not be legal for public, general public open meetings. We will have to have those meetings intact in council chambers or wherever those meetings are scheduled. But again, like I said, we probably will keep the WebEx option open for those who may want to hear what's going on or see what's going on, but don't have time to get downtown. With that said, this is a public forum, and if you would like to address the Board of Commissioners, we invite you to step up, give your name, your address, and present your concerns or comments. I will declare us in recess, and next meeting will be July the 6th at 10 a.m. in these chambers. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, let's open this.